right. This season, given that it's our 150th anniversary of Canada's Confederation, Norm and I decided that we should pay tribute to this country by exploring some classic Canadian roads and fall sites, while celebrating some uniquely Canadian milestones. Day one of our Maple Leaf-inspired trip was jam-packed as we headed northeast out of Toronto using Highway 12 and 35 en route to the now famous and iconically Canadian small town, Bobcaygeon, before continuing northeast to another small town known as the mineral capital of Canada, Bancroft. From there, we continued further east towards Pembroke in search of Canada's sweet pastry treat, the Beaver Tail.
Well, Norm, here we are, Killaloe Station, just south of Algonquin Park, just south of the Ottawa Valley. As we celebrate our 17th Ultimate Ride, this is the end of day one. We're also celebrating the Canada 150, and I thought there was a lot of Canadiana here.
Apparently so, but I'm not too familiar with this place, so why don't you fill me in a little bit?
Well, Canadiana is closed for the season, but Killaloe boasts as being the birthplace of the Canadian Beaver Tail. The Beaver Tail snack, dessert, some people call it a meal. Unfortunately, it's closed for the season, so you're not going to be able to sample one. But yeah, this is the birthplace of the Beaver Tail.
Good to know.
They also have a really great community radio station, which is quite popular. And also back in 1969, one of Canada's first communes, hippie communes, was established right here in Killaloe. It's called Morning Glory Farm, and it's still operating to this day.
I think we might have seen it, or where they were when we did our Woodstock show a couple years ago. They were probably down there partying.
They might have been there. But this is Killaloe Station. This is where they have a festival every year of arts and crafts. And anyway, that's why I wanted us to stop here. It's very Canadian.
Thank you very much for the stop.
What about the roads?
Well, after lunch we took 62 North and made our way to Maynooth.
Yep.
Then we jumped on turns into 62 East and made our way to Combermere. And that's where we started to look for these really small roads here, these 80s and 60s and 500s.
Yeah.
Interesting, 512 is what we ultimately wanted to get to, but to get to it, we figured out pretty quickly that not all these roads are numbered on the signs. It's actually names of roads.
Yeah.
So you gotta be able to play with the map and the GPS and figure it out a little bit. But even if you get lost and ride around, it's not like you're gonna go too far, because every single road that we touched was just a beautiful road.
Yep, yeah, eventually we had to ask somebody the directions, and he was on a motorcycle and he had a grin on his face. But yeah, the roads up here, you know, you're just sort of getting your way now down into the Ottawa Valley as you're leaving the highlands of Haliburton. So fantastic roads.
And 62, you know, it's a big road. It's not a tight, twisty road like this, but I really enjoyed that today because it was high, it went high and low, and it was very mountainous, and you would just come across these lakes. That's a sheet of ice. There was just no wind out there today, and then the colors in the background, just really beautiful ride on that road. Yeah,
this has been great. We're going to continue on up to Pembroke. We left Toronto at 8 o'clock this morning. This has been a good full day's ride, and I think you could really make a meal of this day.
Absolutely, and you know what, and we're a little bit tight on daylight at this time of year, so in the summertime when you have a lot more time, there's all these other roads that you can explore. I mean, I've ridden in this area so much, and there's so many beautiful roads to ride, and just give yourself a 12-hour day to go from Toronto to Pembroke and enjoy everything it has to offer.
If not, get up here for the fall leaves. This has been an ultimate ride.
Or the Beaver Tail.